Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be telling you today about my bodice fitting. I'm going to be showing you my latest makes. How is your sewing week going? I have to say I've had a pretty rubbish week. Unfortunately, I've been poorly sick all week, either with mental health or with physical health. I went to the GPs this morning. They are referring me to a haematologist because I've got low lymphocytes, which is a type of white blood cell. They still don't know what's going on, basically. Somebody did say they wanted to know how I use sewing to help with my mental health. Well, this week I haven't really felt like sewing, and so what I've done is I've forced myself to do some cutting out because it's kind of a little bit less, I don't know, it takes less mental energy, but it really has been difficult just really forcing myself through the motions. I have been doing a little bit of hand sewing in bed. I'm still doing my English paper piecing, not making anything particular, just stitching squares together. It will pass, I'll get through it, and it's a very much kind of up and down sort of thing. Some days are fine, then some days it'll just hit me. So like anything, like chronic pain, like any long-term condition, you just have to get on with it. So on the plus side, I do feel I've made a bit of a breakthrough with my bodice fitting. Now, the person I have to thank for this is Laura, who vlogs at the Specky Seamstress, so do check out her vlog. A couple of weeks ago, I was really at the end of my tether with my bodice fitting, and I'll show you why. Here I have 8 toiles that I made trying to fit a basic bodice block to myself. They're all different. I started off with the, as you know, if you've seen my older vlogs, I started off with the Tilly and the Buttons Megan bodice, which fit me really badly. I changed that several times to no avail. So I started sort of re-sewing it with various alterations, with various shoulder adjustments, bust adjustments. Still wasn't fitting me, the fit was getting worse and worse, so I started with a different bodice. I started with New Look 6262, which is a similar basic darted bodice. Bust darts and 2-way darts. Couldn't get that to fit me. Tried the Tilly and the Buttons Etta bodice with a high round back adjustment, still couldn't get that to fit me. This one here is a toile made of a pattern that I drafted from my own measurements, so starting from scratch, using basic pattern drafting where you take measurements and you measure in on a big piece of paper to make your own block. And this one didn't fit me particularly well. It fitted okay on some areas, but the bust miles out. For some reason my measurements gave me a very small bust dart, and so when I actually tried it on, I'd got a load of excess at the arms. So what I needed to do was pinch that out and rotate it into the bust dart. That gave me an enormous bust dart, which then sort of affected the overall fit, distorted the arm side. I wasn't getting on very well. I posted a pretty despondent post on Instagram, and Laura got in touch with me to mention a book that she really likes, and she says that the bodice fits really well from it. This one, So Many Dresses, So Little Time. Well, as it happened, I actually had a copy of this that I bought quite early on in my sewing journey, and when I originally bought it, I found it a little bit too complicated, and that is because basically this book is a very straightforward, non-jargon, non-technical entry into pattern drafting. So they do give you basic bodice blocks, so you can start with a basic darted bodice or a basic princess bodice, but then they show you how to rotate the darts or seams to add gathers or yokes, and it's very similar to what I've been doing at college actually. So if you're interested in not necessarily drafting your own block, but interested in taking a basic block and adapting it to make different patterns, then I would definitely recommend this book. I think it's still available on Amazon. It's only got US prices, $30 US, but I'm sure it was about 20 quid on Amazon. So I really recommend that book. Laura said that this bodice fit her really well, and so it was like my last chance saloon. I said I'd give it a go, and wonder of wonders, it actually fit me. So I was delighted with it. Made a few alterations, did a full bust adjustment, to give myself a bit more room. And I'm really, really pleased with it. I've made a dress with it now, and it's the one that's here on the form, but it's probably easier if I put some pictures in to show you. So having made this, although I'm very pleased with the fit, when I look at the photographs I've taken, I can see a few fit issues, and I think they're to do with the arm side. I can see some pulling from the arm side. But overall, the fit that I've achieved is so much better than anything else. And that was all I wanted. I don't want perfection, I just want a starting point. And so I'm sure I can refine this block to fit me and use it as a starting point for other patterns. I've actually already started using the block to draft other patterns. So I'm so chuffed. I'm going to show you this dress in a bit more detail because I'm really pleased with it. So this dress is reminiscent of my old nemesis, the Tilly Buttons Megan dress. But what it is actually just a darted bodice that's cut off at the empire waist, and then I traced off the style lines of the Megan skirt, made them a little bit wider to make them more A-line. And what I did that I'm really chuffed with is I added this scalloping detail that you can see on the bottom. Now, these scallops aren't perfect, but they were my first go, and for a first go, I'm pretty chuffed with them. How I did them was I just made the dress, made a lining. The lining is this rather unpleasant, cheap, slippery blue lining fabric that wasn't great to work with, but it was the right colour and it was there. So made them both, cut them both, sewed them both together, clipped the seams, turned it, pressed them out. It was as simple as that. I kind of freestyled the pattern. I obviously made up the scallops as I went along. Rather than lining it, I actually interlined it, and I was a bit worried, but it seems to have worked out okay. So I lined the top with just a white lining fabric so that that wouldn't show through underneath. As you can see, I just serged, well actually I basted them together first, and then I treated the lining and the fabric as one, just sewed the seams as one. But it seems to have worked really well. I finished it on the back with obviously a little matching invisible zip and a blue hairband and hairband loop and little button, and I think it just sets it off nicely. I'm so pleased overall with the fit. I mean, I think it's a really lovely dress as well. The fabric is cheap poly cotton from Oh So Crafty. I think it was £2.15 a metre or something. Obviously they're the same range in two different colourways, and I just think it's a really cute print. It's very much me. I'm really chuffed with that. And you know, hooray for the whole bodice fitting extravaganza. I guess with sewing, like any new skill, a lot of it is learning, and there are a lot of bits where you think you're never gonna get there, you're never gonna actually crack it, and then when you do, obviously it's brilliant. So I'm gonna move on to a couple more of my makes this month. Now you might think that you've got deja vu, because here we've got another two-tone dress in flowery polycotton in a sort of vintagey type style, and yeah, I know I'm a bit of a one-trick pony, but this is a dress that was actually on my make 9. I've wanted to make this dress for ages. I just love the style of it, and I've made it, and I'm not happy with the fit at all. And actually I thought at one point I was close to chucking it out, but then Laura actually came round to visit me, and we did a bit of tweaking with the fit. She pinned it in a bit, and I thought, okay, it might be worth saving, but I thought I'd wear it out once just to check, because what I find is that sometimes a lot of fit issues might become apparent when you go out that are not apparent just from doing a try on. So for instance, if you're just standing in front of a mirror, you might not be aware that the arm size tight, but then after you've worn it for a bit, taking a coat on and off, you might realise that that's a fitting issue that you need to address. So I thought I'll wear it. So I wore it out, and I've realised that I need to line it because it's stuck to my tights and crawled right up my bum as I walked down Camden High Street. And this is another cheap poly cotton from the same place, from Oh So Crafty. And I really love it. Again, it's in 2 colourways, and I've used them together, and I think it works really well, but it does need lining. But that's okay, because I think lining's a nice way to finish dresses anyway. I think they feel more quality, and they feel like, I feel like I've kind of taken more time on them to finish them better, and I just feel like they'll last better, and I kind of feel more proud of them when I look at them, when I put them on. But the fitting issues are really around my old friend, the upper neck and shoulders. This dress is kind of, they're called straps that come up here. It's not actually a square cut out neckline, it's a bodice part and then straps. And the straps are too far apart, they're too loose. So the straps are too long, they're too far apart, which makes the puffs on my shoulders sit too far out. The bodice parts are too loose, like not terribly too loose. The whole dress just looks like one size too big for me. It's the sort of thing that if it was in a shop and they'd only got this size, I probably just would have bought it anyway. But then because I've got the option, because I've made it myself, I've got the option to change it. I really want to change it and get it right. So I kind of know what I'm going to do. I'm going to unpick the strap and basically take out a whole section here to make it like a princess line, and that'll give me the opportunity to line it and line the skirt, well, line the skirt at least anyway, and take this shoulder in, and yeah, I will sort it. But actually when I wore it out and Ian took some pictures of me, I realised I do really like it and it's worth saving. So I am quite pleased with that. Once I've just jumped through the last hoops on it, I will be pleased with that. My next dress was a bit of a mission, but I'm really chuffed with how it came out. It's the Mimi G Jessica dress. You've probably seen lots of versions of this online. It's just such a classic pattern. I saw somebody on Instagram, I think she's called Little Stitch of Nature, post a picture of a Jessica dress that she'd made with a Primark duvet cover, and at that time I had the duvet cover and I was using it as such, and I just thought, I'm going to make that. I wouldn't have been able to make this this time last year, too advanced for me. I have got a few thoughts on the pattern and I'm going to do a full pattern review in a forthcoming vlog, so watch out for that. But suffice to say, I made it, absolutely love it. I'll insert some pictures here, hope you like it too. And the lady who originally, I think she's called Megan, who originally inspired me, was okay about me stealing her style, which is always good. That's about it for my makes. The only other thing I made is my peppermint trousers, my peppermint jeans, which I'm going to be doing a forthcoming sew along, so I shall let you know about that when that's going to be screened so that you can get your patterns printed and ready. I'm just going to do one vlog taking you quickly through. It'll probably be about half an hour long vlog, because I know that if you're not sewing that pattern, it's a bit boring. But for those of you who want to sew it, I'll just do a half an hour vlog basically telling you any bits of the pattern that I do differently, or any bits of the pattern that are incorrectly labelled, so that you have got that, not so that you're forearmed with that knowledge when you go through and make the pattern. So that's pretty much what I've been up to this week. What have you been up to? I hope you've had good sewing weeks. Oh, before I sign off, I need to tell you what I'm wearing. I mentioned in a couple of vlogs ago about this jumpsuit, how I'd made it and I didn't really like it. Well, I've got to tell you, it's grown on me, and one of the reasons why it's grown on me is because it has been absolutely boiling here, and this is thin, it's loose, just chuck it on. So I have worn it quite a few times. I've put some pictures in so that you can see me wearing it, because obviously you can't really see with me sitting down at the moment. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'll pop the pattern number up on the screen so that you know which pattern it was. It's Simplicity jumpsuit, but I've banged on about it quite a lot already. If you've enjoyed this today, then please click on the subscribe button. Thank you so much to everybody who's subscribed already, and thank you so much if you commented on my little bonus vlog that came out last Wednesday about what you want to see in forthcoming vlogs. I really appreciate all your input. I've taken it all on board. I've got some great ideas for sewing on a budget series and things that we can do going forward. So I really appreciate it if you took the time to comment on that. Like I said, click on the little bell so you get notified, and I shall see you very, very soon. Happy sewing, everyone. Bye.